Industrial Talk is brought to you by Palo Alto Networks. You've heard me talk about my friends at Palo Alto Networks, Zero Trust OT Security, delivering a comprehensive security solution for all OT assets, networks, and remote operations. But did you know that the Palo Alto Networks solution provides over 1,100 app IDs for OT protocols, over 500 profiles for critical OT assets, and over 650 OT-specific threat signatures. Now that's best-in-class security delivered. Learn more about Palo Alto Networks' Zero Trust OT security solutions and how you can achieve 351% ROI over 5 years. Learn more about the Palo Alto Networks solution by going out to paloaltonetworks.com. That's paloaltonetworks.com.
Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott MacKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk, and thank you for your continued support. This is a platform that is dedicated to industry professionals all around the world because you are bold, brave, you're daring greatly. You are changing lives and you are changing the world, worthy of celebration, and that's why this platform is for you. All right, we are at Accruent Insights, Nashville, Tennessee. Gaylord is the location. How about that? Did I nail it this time?
That was awesome.
Because this is take two, by the way, anybody listening out there. And I'm talking to Marvin Clark. You got to see this place. If you've ever been to did you get lost?
No, I've only got lost like 6 times so far.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. All right, let's get cracking with the conversation. Marvin Clark in the house, in the hot seat. Yeah. And you can't just wander around this facility, and I'm sure that the other ones are the same, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's gigantic.
This place is crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then somebody says, yeah, just turn left at the green plant. The whole thing's green, right?
Yeah.
It took us forever, and then, we finally made it. We found our bed. And
if you ever come, download the app.
I did that, but I was impatient.
That's how I get around now. It says, you are here, and where do you want to go?
See, that's pretty doggone cool. Now I've got a task list.
There you go.
A call to action. All right, for the listeners out there, Marvin, give us a little background on who you are.
Yeah, I'm Marvin Clark, and I'm the CIO for Accruent, and been with Accruent for like the last year and a half, and loving it. Great company, great products. I love our customers. Prior to here, I've spent 30 years in financial services, so this is a new industry for me. I'm learning every day, but loving what we do.
See, this is interesting, and I'm going to venture into it just for the listeners. You got Accruent. And for the listeners that don't know what Accruent, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes.
What do you do?
You know, it took me a little while to figure that out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I would say if anything to do with facilities management, so it's either managing the buildings themselves, it's managing the assets inside the buildings, managing the people inside the buildings or even outside the buildings. So if you're looking at remote work or things like that, anything and everything around facilities asset management, that's where we really focus our time and energy.
See, as we're here at the Gaylord, this thing's a massive facility. Massive. It has a gazillion lights. It has, HVACs. It has so much equipment that has to be managed.
Yeah.
And I don't see how you can't use a platform provided by Accruent in any way. I don't know how you manage it. How do you? It's like shopping for PVC, right? You're gonna miss that elbow,
Yes, you're right. And now I look at things so differently. Like you just said, when I walk into a building now or a hospital, I'm like, oh, I wonder what's being managed. I wonder who's doing this. I wonder if they're even managing the lights or if they're even managing their assets. But you're right.
But why is it important? Outside of the obvious, of course. Outside of the obvious, you don't want to walk into a dilapidated property. You want to be able to walk in and just say, okay, this is great. And it's one of those unspoken things, You'll know when it's bad.
Right. And I think probably the most important piece is you want to always do better. So you want to make sure that if you have lights or if you have an HVAC or whatever the case may be, that doesn't get to a point where you have to replace it and you just didn't know about it, or maybe you're not using it in the way that you think. So maybe lights are staying on 24/7 and you have no idea. So the more data you can get from each one of your points, each one of your assets, that helps you manage them better. And there's insights that you get that if you weren't looking at the data, you would have no idea how the asset's actually being used and how often it's being used and if it's being used at all.
Yeah, and with that insight, with that ability to see this asset, this living, breathing, physical asset, you're able to identify areas where you can become more efficient.
Yes.
Cost savings.
Yes.
Bottom line value. Keep at it. And I would imagine it's also good there's churn within the organization, and then you're able to at least create some continuity. Is that sort of the right thing?
I think you nailed it. Once you start looking at the data, you stop making assumptions, and the data tells you something, and it could be different for every single company. It could be, to your point, how do you more efficiently manage your buildings or your assets? It could also be, wow, man, we've never even looked at that as an asset that could produce some kind of return on investment or do something different that they've never even thought of just because they haven't looked at the data.
Do you find your customer base, it's monumental.
Mm-hmm.
Many of these universities, whatever it might be, they're so busy into the day to day. Are you finding some opportunities to say, hey, how about something like this, or let's educate you on that, or whatever it might be? Do you find a willingness to do it, or are they just in the trenches trying to maintain these things? Like, some of these are old.
Oh, yeah. Well, one thing I've learned, like I said, this is still a very new industry for me, how smart and intelligent and how proactive our customers are. They want to do things differently. Right. It's amazing. And historically, they've just been logos to me, name a big company, and now I'm working with them. They're not just a company I buy things from, or my kids go to school at, or whatever. But the people that work there are just amazing. They're brilliant, they're smart, and they're so proactive. They want to do what's next. I think it's just about getting them information on what we can do and how we can help, and it's that collaboration of, we have a solution, or we think we have a solution, and they have a problem. Can we come together and solve that problem? And what I've seen on a lot of the calls that I've participated in, they're giving us really good ideas, really good things that we should be focused on, that maybe isn't in our product today, but will be in the future because of the feedback we're getting.
So that's key.
Yeah.
Because you're not operating in a vacuum.
No.
You're operating in a way that is truly collegiate and maybe and collaborative to be able to identify and then be able to take these conversations and then say, hey, here's a use case. It's over here, but we can apply it over there, and that's the way. So how does, in Accruent, how do you go through that process? Because sometimes probably some of the ideas are not, it's very niche. Yeah. I got it. Okay, we'll help you with that. But what's the process within Accruent to just sort of make sure that you're constantly helping your base? Talking
to them about what we're building, what our roadmap looks like, and then getting their feedback. In today's world, you can be really flexible. So we think we're going to build something a certain way in 6 months, 8 months, 9 months down the road, but we can always change course. So what we want to do is get out there early and share with our customers, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, here's what we've heard from you in the past, but then also continue to get their feedback all the way through. And if we're hearing we should take a left turn or a right turn or add something new, we can do that. So getting that functionality out there early and getting their feedback gives us the ability to make changes, and then when we do deliver something, it's what we all wanted together. It's true collaboration. It's not us going away for 9 months, building something we think that's really cool, that we're proud of, but then completely missing the mark.
So we're at Accruent Insights here, this conference, this user community. Is that really at its core? Are you hoping to glean some insights and vice versa and be able to share? What's the objective here at this particular event?
I'd say that there's a couple. First, for me, selfishly, which you just said, I want to talk to as many folks as I can from all the different customers and clients that we have today, because I do want their feedback. I want to know what's going through their minds. I want to know what can Accruent do that we both know about today, but maybe think even bigger and understand some of their other problems, or maybe even some of their opportunities or things that they're thinking about. So for me personally, it's just, I can't wait to talk to as many customers as possible. But then here, I think what we're really trying to do from the conference perspective is create that collaboration. A little bit of us sharing what we know and what we want to do through demos and through workshops, but also just getting the feedback. I mean, it's been 4 years since Accruent's been face-to-face with their customers in a conference. So this is, I mean,
wow.
we're all dying for this. Just having those face-to-face discussions and getting 2 or 3 customers together and seeing them collaborate and seeing how they talk to each other and what their problems are, what their opportunities are, that's what this is all about.
Because right now, I'm looking out behind you, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And then you just got tables and people are surrounded by a terminal and they're talking and they're chirping and people are pointing at the screen. I'm sure that must be, that's a part of it.
Oh, this is awesome, right? I mean, this is what collaboration looks like. This is us wanting to hear what they have to say, and this is the customer sharing what they want and what they need. So, listener, if you can't see it because it's not in the camera, but right behind Marvin are just multiple tables with screens, with the solution up, having one-on-one conversations and pointing at stuff. It's just it's pretty doggone cool. It is cool.
So, where do you see it going? Where do you see all of this going? Where do you see the trends happening? Because I just,
oh man,
what are these assets? I was here 20 years ago. It still looks great.
Yeah, this is a beautiful place. This is really awesome. I don't know. You know, I'd say all of us, none of us talked about ChatGPT 6 months ago. And if you say you were talking about it, you're lying.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, none of us were, right? And now we're all
Mine
experts.
was 5 months.
Me too.
Yeah, there you go, 5 months ago.
Yeah. So there's so much changing. And I think it comes down to 2 things. One, capture as much data as possible, because when you have the data, you can do something.
Right.
And then 2, figure out how you decipher that data in a fast way, but in a correct fashion. So you don't want the data to tell you something that's not true. Man, I don't know where this is going to go, but I know it's going really fast. And so we have Microsoft kind of leading it right now. AWS or Amazon and Google and companies we don't even know about today, they're going to be jumping in the mix. So I think companies need to be really flexible and ready for change. That's going to be the key. And try things. Try.
Yeah, see, this is what's interesting. When we start talking about trying, right?
Yeah.
I want to try, but I want to try with somebody I know and trust.
Right.
I don't want to just try with somebody off the street saying, yeah, I've hung my AI shingle out, and now I'm also an IoT specialist, right?
Yep.
I want to be able to have some conversation with something that means something.
Yep.
That I can trust. You agree? I mean, Accruent provides that capabilities.
Totally agree. And I know it sounds like a commercial for Accruent, but you're right. You want to go with companies that you have trusted in the past, help build those partnerships with the new companies that are coming up. And that's what we're trying to do at Accruent, is work with companies that are really good at IoT, that we know can deliver the right data, so that we can capture that data and figure out the right insights, the right learnings. But across the board outside of Accruent, I do think it's wise to work with companies you trust, and because it's so fast. It's so fast.
It is. I remember going to one conference 5 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
And the topics were, hey, we need to collect data. Well, why? Well, there's something in that data, and it's like you got it. And then all of a sudden you fast forward and it's like, yeah, collect it, decipher it, identify, make sure that that's the data you want, and not some sort of, garbage in, garbage out type stuff. And
I agree. Well, and I think if we can get to the point, data scientists are incredibly important. They're phenomenal at their job.
Yeah.
If we all can become data scientists and you don't need that special role to figure out what the data is telling you, I think that's when we make a big leap forward.
Who's going to do that? Is that like Chat GPT?
I think it's a little of that. It's a little bit of AI.
I agree.
So yeah, but I think when we all become experts with the data, and it becomes easy for all of us to identify what the data is telling us, that's when we make a big step forward, in my opinion.
Don't you think it's something like I'm an artist, right?
Yeah.
I'm an artist. I have a canvas, and I'm drawn on the canvas. I don't know when to pull away. Maybe that a little shading here and a little.
Yeah.
Don't you think sometimes data analysts are sort of okay? You're at the 99th percentile right there. Are we getting that bang for the buck, or is there still just gold in the data? Like just like there's so much more to gain from it.
Gold. Think about how much data we're collecting today compared to, say, 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the size of databases that every company has, data marts, data warehouses, you name it, data lakes, it doesn't matter. Just data, and just little things. Now we're back to the IoT. Just think of all that data that's being collected every single second. It's insane.
The continent of Australia is going to be a cloud farm. I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation because I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, I take pictures all the time, right?
Yeah.
Goes someplace. It goes to the cloud.
It goes to the cloud.
Ever so. And eventually the whole world's going to be a doggone cloud.
I know.
It is. And the energy associated with that to keep those bad boys cool and efficient and safe and secure and
so true. Yes. And 2 or 3 or 4 copies of everything.
No, I'm efficient with mine. No, I'm not. All right. You are absolutely spectacular. How does somebody get a hold of you?
Reach out to marvin.clark@accruent.com.
That's it?
That's it.
And you will respond?
I will positively respond.
Check it out. I'm going to test it out. Hi, Marvin. Just testing out your email. Well, you are absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
Have a great. I'll be around.
Looking forward to talking to you.
Darn right.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right, listeners. Once again, we are broadcasting from Accruent Insights here in Nashville, Tennessee. Gaylord. This is an amazing property. At least put it on your bucket list to check it out. We're going to have a lot more conversations, so we're going to wrap up on the other side. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, that's a wrap. That's Marvin Clark. Accruent is the company. That was Accruent Insights. We are talking about managing those building assets, the data, the information coming from the devices, and how important that is to be able to deploy and analyze that information so that you, building manager, can make better decisions in managing that building asset. Big time, great conversation, fun. By the way, you got to go to Accruent Insight next year just because it's excellent. The people are excellent. Everything's excellent. The food's even excellent. So it's all excellent. Yeah, put that on a bumper sticker. All right. Industrial Talk is a platform that is dedicated to industrial content creators. That's you. You need to be a part of this platform. You have a podcast, you have a blog, you have a video. Industrial Talk is the place for you. Let's get this information out there. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with Marvin. Change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly.